I've been astonished to see all the Ivy League colleges where our top brains students, first class students, going to be educated. Majority of them got into trouble recently with the anti-Semitism fiasco and it's scandalizing. It is quite shocked to find out that as an incidental discovery, all the presidents ranging from Harvard to Columbia, UPenn, MIT, you name it, are all women, except Princeton, who is not into trouble. You know, president is a guy. I'm not saying that women are not capable of leadership of the CEO, but there's an overwhelming majority of women. So it makes me to think about, what does the scripture say about women leadership? And of course, tying to that, in the Reformed world, the theology is complementarianism, which really means, which is rather controversial, that there's a passage by Paul which seems to be rather controversial, but I won't get into that, but I'll just take snippets of that with regards to what's going on in America, in our college campuses today. And right now it's really, really hot in Columbia University, case in point. Oh my gosh, UCLA is boiling over. So let's just take what the scriptures say. 1 Corinthians 11, verse 3. That Paul said, I want you to understand that the head of every man is Christ. The head of a wife is her husband. And the head of Christ is God. Now this is really interesting now, okay? Because this is dealing with headship. The headship. It is really, really, really important now. Verse 2 here, that a woman's, it talks about a woman's covering first. The headship, it's really important that we understand the authority of Christ and all this stuff, okay? The head of Christ is God, indicates within the Trinity. The Father has a role of authority or leadership with respect to the Son, although they are equal in deity and attributes. Paul applies this truth about the Trinity to the relation of husband and wife. In marriage, as a Trinity, there's co-equality in being and value, but differences in role. So this is interesting. The head of every man, the head of a wife, the head of Christ is God. So we will deal with that head of Christ is God separately. There's such a huge topic, whether it is the incarnate Christ or it's the supreme being, divine Christ. There's another story. But let's just deal with, it says here, the head of every man is Christ. I don't think any Christian has trouble with that. The head of a wife is a husband. Now that's important. The head of a wife, the head of a wife is her husband. Husband is the head of his wife. Okay. The wife's head is her husband. So that is biblical. I know now there's a lot of problem with weak husbands and failure husbands, immoral husbands, bullying husbands, womanizing husbands, and drinking problem husbands, whatever the case may be. Okay, but these are problematic, problematic husband, problematic man. In itself is a cause to review the headship of the husband over the wife. How do you have a wife, a decent woman, submits to a husband? Half of the time he's drunk, the other half of the time he's womanizing outside there. This is like children. Submit to your parents, etc. Honor your parents. That's as much as the parents honor and submit to God. That's where the same argument can go. I'll bring it to another level. People submit to leadership, to your governors, to your political leadership. That's in the Bible too. But that's to the point where they walk with God. How can you submit to a president called Title IX, calling for men to walk into women's bathroom, women's sports? How do you do that? Because God will not agree with it. God thinks, and then it's abomination. And then who do you obey? You obey God or obey man? Of course, obey God. And that's the point you break it. It's the same thing. With woman to man's leadership, a husband and wife leadership in a family, man is supposed to be the leader. Husband is the leader. Okay? So long as the husband walks with the Lord, okay? You want to enjoy the marriage relationship, Now, of course, no man is perfect. So it doesn't mean the minute or the hour or the day or the month or the year, the man doesn't walk with the Lord. You just usurp the relationship. You just break it off. No, you can't do that. You got to give and take, to honor, to help one another, to pray. Man's supposed to love the wife. So all this, But the overarching principle is husband is the leader over the wife. And for instance, if the man is half drunk, persistently, and womanizing, there will be a case in point, a time to break it off. Break off this, the headship. Yes, biblically they'll be correct. In fact, adultery will be a valid reason for for divorce even. All right, this is video 1.